Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time, back with his Tuesday guest, real estate entrepreneur, seven-figure earner, amazing human being, great dad, great husband, Mr. Omar Alfaro. How you doing, sir?
What's up, guys? How you doing? What's up,
I'm, do-
Michael?
I'm doing well, man. We teased something at the end of episode one that is going to be a video two here, and that is mistakes happen. You got to learn from them, move on. So what I thought we would do here is talk about that. Lessons, either mistakes we have personally made or we have witnessed others make, and how we should learn from them and others should learn from them. But before we do that, if you like the content that Omar and I put out, do me a favor, like, subscribe, share, comment, give us some motivation. Thank Omar for his time. Again, like, share, comment. We'd love to get the support. So Omar, what are some of the mistakes that you've done over the last 19 years? I'll share some that I've done, because I think sometimes recognizing a mistake, maybe we can stop somebody else from making it. So what's one that you want to talk about?
Well, since this is an investment channel and we talk about buying rentals and flipping and holding and all that other stuff, the first thing I would say is when you purchase a property, you know your exit strategy before you buy it. Okay. So 100%, I made the mistakes by not understanding this early on, and I was stuck holding the bag. I was stuck. Ended up selling the property for less money than what we paid for it.
Yeah.
And it was a great lesson learned. I lost thousands of dollars. So I would say before you go out and purchase something or negotiate something, you already have an end in mind, meaning you're going to either buy and hold this property, you're going to get some bridge funding. That means you're going to buy it immediately with a small amount of money down, but you know your exit. That means you're going to fix it. Then you're going to refinance it, pull out some of your money, the classic burr, or you're going to wholesale the deal. You have to know all this stuff, because if you don't, this is where problems will happen. And
Yeah.
they will happen. And then the minute that you want to get another deal, or you want to get 3 or 5 new projects, how are you going to be able to facilitate those payments if you don't have any income coming in?
Yeah.
You're
That's
banking on one flip to pay for your next 4 or 5, which I'm in there. Michael, you've been there.
oh yeah.
This is a huge, huge part of being the investor that you should understand and know, like what your exit is and how you're going to be able to fund the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's number one. And then yeah, I want to hear something from you too, Michael, because that's just one part.
Yeah.
I got 3 or 4 things to talk about.
Yeah, I've been noodling a list, because this is, again, admitting my mistakes. It's just part of the process. We've all made them. I think the first one I made was actually on my very first property. So I bought it right, cash flowed, all good. But then I started to recycle my capital, right? I went back to it to pull out capital so I can buy more stuff. Recycling capital is a huge part of one rental at a time. However, I didn't do the math. I trusted a bank to be conservative, which was a huge mistake. So what I did without knowing it, and I'm a numbers guy, I could have done the math. I was busy, which means I was lazy. And I ended up signing a deal where the mortgage payment was like $1,200, but my rent was $1,100. And oh, by the way, I pay property managers and stuff breaks. And basically the story is I created an alligator, right? It's the only picture in my first book.
Right.
No alligators. Don't do that, right? And again, this can be brought to lots of people. A lot of people, and I wrote about it in the book. One guy I knew bought 4 houses or 5 houses on purpose to lose money every month. Don't ever do that, right? Markets change, markets evolve, markets slow down, markets go down. If you are holding negative equity or negative cash flow because of appreciation, you're an idiot. Because who's to say that the market's going to go up again? And if the market turns, you're going to learn what a strategic default is, and you'll let them go. So again, don't buy or create alligators is my number one, because I got to tell you, I was reminded of that mistake every single month when I said, great, this property produced $870 and I've got to write a check for $1,200. Congratulations. I worked 17 hours for this flipping house, and that pissed me off every month.
It's spot on, man. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's like, and who would want to buy to go negative?
Yeah. It's just, so dumb. So dumb.
Even if it's 100, and I'll share with you, I did buy in 2009 and 10, and I was negative. I was negative $100 a month, $200 a month
Mhm.
at the time. But the market was depressed. It was different. It was one of those strategic purchases because you couldn't rebuild this property for 30 or $40 a square foot,
Right.
$60 a square foot, $70 a square foot in 2009 and 10. You know what that market was. 2011 was just the bottom of it.
Mm.
So it was a strategic, and yes, did it play out 100%. But in a market like today, and you're
Mm.
buying for appreciation, and you're barely breaking even, it's not
Yeah.
the smartest move.
I'm not doing that deal.
No,
Not today.
no. And yeah, and at the time, it was like we were doing $50,000 houses,
I know.
so it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still rent it out and cover
Yeah.
barely, but still. But yeah, I mean, you know what? Spot on that one.
Very cool. What's number two?
Uh, my second thing is partnerships.
Ah,
Okay,
okay.
partnerships. Everybody wants to be a partner. Everybody wants to be a JV on a deal that you have, on a deal they're going to bring you, on this, on that. You have to understand one thing. I've been in a partnership that I divorced from.
Mhm.
Okay, and I don't know the terminology. A partition, it's called. Um, and I filed a partition, so we're able to remove ourselves from the partnership that we owned the property. I lost $70,000
Mm.
because of a partner that I thought, because of a handshake, that he was going to hold his end of the bargain. And I got swindled. I had the capital.
Mm.
Somebody else had the knowledge at the time. And this is super key. If you guys both bring something to the table, great. Have it in writing, what everyone's going to be doing. And honestly, if you don't need a JV on a deal, don't. If you can find out, if you can borrow some money, a little extra money
Mhm.
to finish that deal by yourself, great. But unless things are perfectly in writing and it's a trusted person, then I would say yes, go into a JV or a partnership, but understand, like, how about this? Maybe give away a little bit more money just for the lead or
Yeah.
just for the opportunity, and pay the person off. Maybe give them an extra 5K, and that's it. Because if you do that, now you're the only partner.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yeah.
you may have paid a little bit more money, but I'm telling you, like, vet the JV people, or vet your partner very, very well, because things could get sideways and it messes up a lot of stuff, and you will lose thousands of dollars if you're not careful.
Yeah. Losing 70 grand will make you pucker up and go, that was no fun. Yeah. My number one, or my number two, excuse me, is this is so hard to admit, but sometimes your ego gets in the way.
Oh,
Right?
that's a good one, man.
Yeah.
Wow, I
Sometimes
should have. Yeah,
yeah, sometimes your ego gets in the way. And the best example of this is not me, it's a friend of mine. So I had a friend of mine that was flipping 7-figure homes in the Bay Area just before the last Great Recession. And to say that he was printing money was an understatement. I think his average profit on a flip was $225,000. And he was doing them over and
Really?
over. Yeah, I mean,
Oh my
this
god.
is the last, because he was, and if you flip one home and make 225, you're going to feel pretty good. You flip 35 homes and make 225, you're feeling really good, right? So his empire was building, he was doing more and more. And then I remember he tells this story, right? He remembers doing an open house for one of his latest flips, and like 4 people showed up. And he's like, Michael, usually we'd have 50. And then usually we'd have an offer by Monday or Tuesday. We'd have multiple offers by Monday,
Right.
Tuesday. We'd be in negotiation. We'd take somebody by Thursday, Friday. He'd been doing this for years in this run up to the crash. And he remembers that first open house. And then he made excuses why nobody showed up. He's like, oh, it was bad marketing, or we got lazy. We didn't, whatever. Right. Next weekend, nobody shows up, 2 people. And basically that, as he's telling the story, you could see that the market's shifting on him, but he's not seeing it. He's still taking on. What happens is the market's slowing down, so he's selling less and less, but he's still buying crazy amounts, right? And so as it goes on, he doesn't take a small loss on one of his properties and slow down. He kept buying, frankly, kept overpaying, and he was getting excited because he's like, man, I'm buying properties that I would normally miss out on, not realizing that the market turned and he was the only bidder. So he's building a portfolio, more and more
Oh,
holding, more and more cost of capital, more and more carry. Then he's not selling anything. And again, his net worth is 10 million plus. His cash flow statement is broken because he's not selling anything. Then the debt structure, then the employees, then this, then the marketing. And pretty soon, it doesn't matter if he's worth 10 million bucks because he can't sell anything. He's Evergrande, this Chinese developer, on a smaller scale. And pretty soon he's bankrupt and divorced because he got cocky. He didn't take a small loss. He didn't realize that the market was telling him. And he's like, Michael, that first weekend, I should have slowed down. I should have slowed down. When 4 people showed up and I got no offers, that should have been a sign. But I had, my ego wouldn't let me see it. So that's a big one.
oh, that's huge. I want to talk about this.
Yes.
I wrote down overpaying.
Yeah.
Like he was overpaying, or he was not even overpaying. He was winning the bid because there was no other competition.
And he didn't realize it, right? He was writing, because again, he was the deal finder, right? And he had team. This is what killed him, right? He had all this overhead and all these other things doing, but his job was to find the deals. And in the past, he says, hey, I was 1 of 10, 1 of 15, and I was getting like 1 out of every 6 deals. He said that after that one open house, he was getting 1 out of every 2. And he said,
oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, he said that should have been a red flag, but he thought he just got better. Again, he let his ego get so big that he just didn't see it. And pretty soon he smashed and burned.
And the price point, it wasn't the median.
No, it was
2, 3, 400K above the median.
Yeah, easy. Yeah. I mean, it's probably half a million bucks above the median. That's all he played in. Yeah.
Let's see that if that's all you played in the luxury aspect of real estate, to flip, and yes, your $250,000, $200,000 flips. Yes, it's nice, but is it, I'm not going to say, is it safe? Yes, at the time, if he's doing 10 or 20 deals at 250, I mean, he's made $5 million.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, okay, that's phenomenal.
Right.
But there's got to be an end, right? So that's a really, really good this topic about ego. And it happens at every scale.
Oh, every level.
I want to mention every scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because of this, because of what we're talking about, like you want every single deal. I want every deal. I want to keep every deal. But you just said a couple words right now that I picked up on, that you want to keep, he's keeping these properties, but his cash flow statement, because there's not any more money coming in from flipping the homes and he's keeping them, the holding costs will bury you.
Oh, holding costs, employee costs, marketing costs, none of that stuff stopped. And his cash flow, folks, everybody wants to talk about net worth. Everybody wants to talk about income. It doesn't matter. If whatever generates income for your business stops, you're going to die. Try to hold your breath for 20 minutes. You're going to die.
That right there is your blood flow. Your blood flow stops, you will die.
You're done.
You're done.
Exactly. Woo-hoo. All right. One more. What's your last one you want to highlight?
I wrote down. Boom. Okay. Let's see. All right. Stay in your lane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, okay, the focus aspect of it, right? We went focus, discipline, execution, accountability. Like you want to be able to stay in your lane. And does it mean you're going to have shiny objects? Yes. But is it like master one avenue? Like there's so many things happening right now. And this is why you're successful, Michael, because there was not a lot of shiny objects back then. And if there were, social media didn't exist. You were just plugging away, knowing your market, buying rentals, adding the portfolio. And this is where you're at now. That's a lot of people in that era have done the same, other people that we talk to on a like larger scale. And right now there's so many shiny objects on your path. It's like this car, that car, this car, but focus on what you need to take care of first. Focus on the avenue of your business. My opinion, like you got to focus on your path, become really good at being the best real estate agent so people know you, right? So you can have income coming in. So then you're able to buy investment properties, okay?
Mhm.
And then you're able to double and triple and quadruple your net worth and or your income. If you a 9 to 5 employee, focus on your 9 to 5, right? You'd be really good at it. Hopefully you're in sales so you can elevate the amount of income you make. But then after the 9 to 5, you focus on your new craft, being that investor, finding that first rental. Hence, one rental at a time. This is why you're plugging in. Like, focus on that avenue. It's not going to just jump at you unless you put the work in, unless you daily discipline, like we talk about,
Mhm.
unless you understand your buy box in your specific area. So overall, I'd say stay in your lane until you get something, and then you want to level up because you feel like you mastered it.
Yeah. So my
All right.
final one that I made a mistake on is I assumed, and again, I'm a full-time employee, 6 figures, all of that back in the day. And I assumed that bank lending would always be there. Banks get nervous, banks get scared, banks tighten up, banks do this, banks do that. There was a time, folks, during the crash that banks would only do 4 loans and then they wouldn't do any more. So again, banks get tight. So something that really exploded our growth was the ability to do hard money. I was paying 12% 3 points at one point, and then we had private money, which was a game changer. So again, grow your network. Don't always assume banks will say yes because they get nervous too. But yeah, this has been a fun conversation, man. How can people find you?
Guys, follow me on IG at Omar_Alfaro or OmarAlfaro.com.
Thanks, buddy.